Shalom, brothers and sisters. So I've been keeping you up to date on the community wall as these things are going on, but let's just touch quickly on a couple of these things that are happening now. Our update of current events. So Iran and Russia are working together to launch their satellite, spy satellite, something else satellite. Anyway, it's up. It's operational and working just fine and sending and receiving data. So this marks a big public move by Russia and Iran to show that they're working together in all fields. It's spreading to more and more things, which we knew, and Putin's been having meetings with their grand leader a lot lately. So I'm sure a lot of these meetings are discussions about their plans for Israel as well. So it's interesting to see this relationship blossoming to the point of working together in space tech and all sorts of weapons and things like that. So that's interesting, and that's up there, and that's worrying the West in a big way. Ukrainian crop ships sitting without a buyer, because apparently the buyer said it's not willing to wait 6 months. They'd rather try and make another plan. Now, that doesn't make sense to me, because in the midst of a global famine and a world food shortage, you're really going to pass up on a ship full of grain that can save your people. It doesn't make sense. It again points to how this whole situation is being controlled and how it's been maneuvered to force the entire population of Earth into the position they need them to be in need of their pre-prepared and packaged savior, the incorrect one, who's coming later this year probably. Then drought in Europe has reached a point that it hasn't been in since the 16th century. This is the worst drought they say they've had since the 16th century, and it's going to get worse. This ties into the sun's cycle. All right, I'm going to touch on this, like I said, in my next Rapture update video. The solar cycle we're in at the moment, all right, the midpoint of that cycle at its hottest point will hit in the middle of this coming Shemitah cycle, exactly at the midpoint. Now that is interesting when you read that in conjunction with Revelation and what God has to say about the earth and mankind being scorched by the sun. So this drought in Europe is just a public declaration of what's coming in this trailer that we're living through right now. And it's interesting, and it's not helping with food production, so it's got knock-on effects to famine. It's going to have knock-on effects with water, which is going to have knock-on effects with pestilence, disease, sickness. It's really, this is big stuff, apocalyptic stuff. And then I watched this video of the death of the Saudi ambassador Muhammad al-Qatani, mid-speech in Egypt, now in the last few days. I had to watch it 3 or 4 times because you know what, it gets me right here, right? So the man stands there and he's making a speech. He doesn't look sick. He's not ailing. He doesn't look frail. He's animated. He's talking loudly. He's congratulating the man behind him and making a speech. And mid-sentence, he stops and within the next 2 to 3 seconds drops like a tree that's been felled. Dead. Instantly. Now, what I want to draw from this and just highlight for everybody is the following. You have no guarantee of the days in your life. None. God knows when you were to be born, and God knows when your journey ends. You have no control over that. You have no idea, and it could happen at any time. And that is the part that people don't get. That guy did not think for a second that this would be it for him in the middle of his speech. In the middle of his speech, that he'd go down like a tree log. He wasn't seeing that happening. Did he have Jesus Christ? Was his life in order before he made that speech? A lot of times we go about our day and we think to ourselves, I've got time to chat to God later, or I can work on my relationship at a later stage. Nothing major is happening. I'm okay. I'm going to be all right. And then you choke on a piece of food and die. Or your heart stops unexplainedly and you drop. Or something goes wrong, or you're in an accident. Anything can happen. Your clock just stops. There was an old story many years ago that I was told that's left a profound impact on me in the way to describe how to see this. Everyone on the planet Earth right now is standing in a queue. The queue is to the day of your death. Every single person fits into this row perfectly somewhere, but you have no idea what your position is until you reach the front. And there's no way of stopping it. It's just always moving. You don't know where you're going to end. You don't know how quick it's going to be. Nothing is guaranteed. Like grass and flowers, we come forth and we're gone again. Make sure that in that short time, you discover Jesus Christ. You work on your relationship with Him. You give your life to Him and you dedicate yourself to the one and only true living God, especially in the times that we're currently living in. There is no more time. You're living in extra innings right now. The game is up. So think on that and focus on that and wonder about that and make sure that you are investing in your relationship with God. Nothing is more important than that. Have a great day. God bless and shalom.